Yo! Rishi here from therippedindian.com. Alright, so we've done so many videos on the diet side of fitness. I think you guys are covered with that. In terms of training, guys, there is so much content on the internet about how to train, how to exercise, so I'm not going to waste your time going down that route. What I want to focus on today is one of the most overlooked aspect of achieving our fitness goals, or any goal for that matter, and that is our mindset. Okay, so I mean, if you think about it, the reason why people fail to achieve their fitness goal, like getting in, X shape, usually it's not because they don't know what to eat or they don't know how to train. That's the easy part. The real reason is because they're either doing it for the wrong reason or they just don't know why they're doing it. Hence, they can't stick to the plan. And this goes for any goal, not just fitness, right? So what I want to share with you today is a tool that you can use, to achieve not just your fitness goal, but any other goal. It's really, really simple, but it's so effective. It's essentially a way to have a conversation with yourself so you can rewire your brain and shift your perspective on how you look at something, look at your reality, and why you want something. And then it becomes much harder to actually not make the change that you need to make than it becomes to actually make the change. Then it's just simply change, okay? So look, let's not waste any time. Let's just get straight to it. The first thing you need to do is there's 4 main steps. I'm going to walk you through each one of the steps. I'm going to use myself as an example so that you can relate to it and think about how you'd have this conversation with yourself. And then I'm going to leave you to it and encourage you to have that conversation. So let's start. Number 1 is figure out why you want what you say you want. Okay. So in my case, I found myself in a position where I was, even though I was going to the gym, I'd grown a massive belly. I felt disgusted by it, and I wanted to get in shape. I felt like it's gonna, if I can change myself, a lot of things will change. But that a lot of things will change was just too blasé. It wasn't. I didn't know exactly what would change, and hence I never found the motivation to actually follow through. So one day I said, like, enough is enough. I did some research, I read a few books, did some research on how to actually make habit change, how to change your habits successfully and permanently. And one of the things that I kept coming across is finding your why. So finding the real reason why you want to do something. So for example, let's take, I want to get 6-pack abs, as a lot of people want abs, right? Let's take that as a reason. Now, when you ask somebody, why do you want 6-pack abs? Traditionally, they'll say, because I want to look good. That's the main reason. It's the aesthetics, right? But looking good is such a vain, shallow reason, and it's not really enough. I mean, for some people it might be, but it's not really enough to motivate you to do the things that you need to do in order to get a 6-pack, because it's not easy, right? You have to restrict your calories, you have to train hard. There's a lot of things that go into it. It's almost a shift in lifestyle altogether. So it's a commitment, and if you just want to look good, then it's probably not going to work, right? You're probably going to do what you need to do for a week, be on a good diet, do your training, and then just it's going to fizzle out after that. Okay, so how do you stick to that? How do you use, instead of depending on motivation, how do you get something to pull you? A reason that's so big where you don't need motivation. That reason is pulling you to actually do the things day in, day out, okay? And that's where finding out why you want to do something comes into play. And how do you do that? Really simply, by asking yourself why. Not once, not twice, but multiple times. When I say multiple times, I'm talking between at least 7 times to actually get to the meat of I shouldn't say meat, this is a vegetarian website, okay? So to get to the crux of the depth of why you want to do something. So let's just play out a conversation. Let's play out a conversation that I had myself. Okay, so you want to get in shape, you want to get a 6-pack. Rishi, why is that? because I don't like the word look. I want to look better. Okay, right. So why do you want to look better? What's that going to change? I mean, if I look better, I'm gonna have more confidence. I'm gonna have more confidence and walk around with confidence. Okay, that's what I want. All right. So why do you want more confidence? I mean, what's that gonna do? Probably improve my dating. Right, definitely. It probably mean that I'm a bit happier. I'm happy around people, and that's great. But okay, so is that what you really want? You would improve your dating and be happy around people. I mean, those things still sound like just obvious things. Why do you actually want that? What is it about? You don't need a six-pack to get good at relationships or be happy around your friends. You don't need a six-pack for that, right? So why do you want a six-pack? And then I had to really think, why do I want that? It's true, I don't need a six-pack to be good at dating or to be happy around my friends or to walk around with confidence. I just need to look better than I am right now. So why do I want a six-pack? And I realized that the six-pack part of it was because I know in my heart of hearts how difficult it is to get that. It's a commitment. It's it's going to take a lot of hard work. It's going to take a lot of sacrifice. And if I get it, it's going to give me a sense of accomplishment. Okay, sense of accomplishment. That was a key thing. Okay, and then I asked myself, right, so why do you want a sense of accomplishment? You've got a fairly decent job. You've got friends. What's that sense of, why is that important? And then I had to dig deep. The shallow, I couldn't come up with any more shallow answers. That's asking why about 5 or 6 times. Then you want to dig deeper. Okay, so digging deeper, it's okay, look, I've got this big vision that I want to set up. I want to do something, start a personal development business at one day. But in order to start that, I need to, be the part of myself first and foremost, right? That's one thing. The other thing is that I didn't do that well at uni. And then, in my previous job or even my current job, the one I had, last year, to an extent, I wasn't giving my 100%. So I didn't have a real sense of accomplishment. And that was the point. Okay, so the sense of accomplishment was really important because it was going to allow me to, first of all, feel like I can do something if I put my mind to it. I didn't do it at uni, I didn't do it in the previous role I had. But if I can do this, it's going to give me that sense of accomplishment. And it's going to, propel me to achieve my goals of starting a personal development website, around fitness, as you can see now, but it could have been around anything, right? So that's a big reason. That's a life-changing reason. So then you start thinking about, that's step one, find out what your why is and dig deep. When you get the real answer, when you get an answer that is not just superficial, not just vain, not just obvious, but something that really means something to you, something concrete that's going to impact your life, right? Then you know that, okay, this answer is one I can depend on, but I can't stop here. Okay, so that's step one done. Now let's look at step two. Now you want to ask yourself, all right, you've done this, the kind of the logic, the questioning, the reasoning bit. Now you want to add some emotion into it. Play a movie in your mind and take yourself through a journey of what happens if I don't do that, step two. What happens if I do that, step three. Okay, so step two, what happens now that I know what I want is to get in shape, because it's going to give me a sense of accomplishment and propel me to starting up a personal development company. Now I know that that's why I want it. I'm not just getting a six-pack because I'm disgusted with my belly. I'm getting it because I want to do these things. Okay? Now that you know it, what happens if you don't do it? Well, the one thing that happens if I don't do it is I'm going to feel like I'm not living up to my full potential because I know what I want now. And it's going to make me feel miserable. It's going to eat into me. I'm not going to be happy with myself. I'm going to be the opposite, not have confidence. I'm going to be grumpy around other people. And it's going to impact my relationships in a negative way. I mean, I just don't like the sound of that at all. Okay, so that's the negative part. You can see I started speaking quicker. That I just dislike that. I don't like the idea of that at all. But on the flip side, what happens if you do actually achieve all that? And then it's like, wow, so first of all, I'll be in much better shape. I'm going to look better. I'm going to have confidence. You know, my dating will improve. That's a +1 already. But I'm going to be a happier person. I'm going to, you know, be striving toward what I want to do, which is starting a personal development company. I probably work harder at this job because I'm just a happier person in general. Or maybe get another job that's going to make me happy. You know, it's all positive things. Just making that one change sounds like it's going to give me a lot of momentum to propel me into good directions in different areas of my life. You know, my relationships, my friends, my career, my, you know, business potentially, all these things. So now I'm thinking, right, you know, doing a diet and getting in shape will take about what, 6 months, 7 months. But for that, I'm getting all this. It's so promising. I want to do this, right? And now I'm thinking, right, okay, so I've already decided. You can tell from the tone of my voice, you know, I'm gonna do this, right? All right, so you've done step 1, find out your why. So done step 2, which is step 2 and 3. You play a movie in your mind. You know, what's the worst case scenario? What happens if you don't do it? What's the best case scenario? What happens if you do it? Now you open up your imagination to what's possible. I mean, you don't even know. This is just what you can think of. But what you can think of is limited to stuff that you already know, right? When it evolves, it's actually much better, right? But anyway, let's not go off track. Step 4, and this, guys, is the nail in the coffin. This step is going to determine whether or not you're successful the first time round. And just whether or not you're successful. Okay, a lot of people don't ask this question. This is a really important question. And that question is, once you figured out your why, once you figured out what happens if you don't do it, what happens if you do it, the last question is, what is the one thing that's going to stop you from achieving your goal? What's that one thing? That one thing, I like to call it the risk factor. What is your risk factor? Okay. Now, risk factor is different for a lot of people. You know, let's say you're trying to do a diet. It could just be that every weekend you go to your cousin's house or your friend's house and, you know, you have a dinner party and there's so much food there. You mindlessly, or, you know, without thinking, you know, you just eat, you have a good time, and potentially all the calories that you saved or you reduced in the week, you consume on that Saturday or that Friday night, and then that's counterproductive because you've just done the opposite. You know, you've poured water over all the hard work you've done. So that could be a risk factor for other people. For me, I know what it was. My drinking, my Friday night drinking, because, you know, I wasn't the kind of person that likes to go out and just have a couple of beers and come home. You know, I would go out with my friends and, you know, we'd finish when we have to finish, right? When there's nothing else you can do. So it was a case of, right, think about, I'm out from 5:30, 6 p.m. to, let's call it 3, 4 a.m., right? And let's say you have about 10 beers in the span of 8 hours, which is nothing. It's like 1 drink an hour, which is nothing, right? Leaving out all the shots that you would do and leaving out all the food you'd eat after, you know, the burgers and the chips and so on after a night out. We're looking at a total of about 2,000-3,000 calories, right? And if I've just saved 400 calories from Monday to Friday and I'm in a deficit of 2,000 by Friday night, and then I go out and I do that and end up in a surplus while I've been starving myself all week, that's I'm never going to reach my goal, right? So I knew that was what it is for me. So anyway, getting to the point, find your risk factor and control it. If you can control it, once I knew what it was, I mean, I knew what it was, right? But I had to find a way to control it. That was a hard part. So I found a way to control it, and it worked like a charm. In 7 months, I lost 14 kilos. That's 2 kilos a month consistently. I lost 16% body fat, so I went from 26 to about 10%, where I could see my abs. I started the website, so I looked good. I achieved that goal 1. But the second part of my goal, which, you know, I was like, okay, I wanted to start a personal development company. I started the RippedIndian.com. I wrote a book on how I did it, and I started getting people reach out to me for, you know, for coaching. So that happened. That was never in the plan. And most recently, I've started a YouTube channel, which was never in the plan. You know, I never thought I'd have the confidence to speak in front of a camera ever. So I mean, just doing those 4 steps, having that one conversation with yourself, which takes about, what, 10 minutes, 15 minutes?